Welcome to Pixel Therapy, the video game podcast where we look at the games we play through the lens of the player, where what you play is just as important as how you play it, and where emotional intelligence is a critical stat. I'm your co-host Jamie, pronouns she, they,
And I'm your co-host Spencer, pronouns they, them.
and this is Pixel Therapy. Happy
Mhm.
New Year, everybody.
You did here.
We've made it to 2025.
Yay.
Don't know
Yay?
what that has in store for us. Yeah, I don't know if I'm yay about this. 2024 sucked, but I would have stayed there a bit longer. Um,
Yeah.
based on what
That's how bad it is that it
yeah,
sucked, but we still were like, well,
could be worse.
could be worse.
Could be worse. And here we are approaching the worst. But you know what? Let's forget about that for a minute and just focus on something else to mask our own anxieties.
Yes.
Instead, I would like to give some New Year's Patreon shout outs.
Yay.
This is our special thank you to everyone who's subscribed to our Patreon name in the credits tier. Specifically, this is everybody who subscribed for the month of December. So that's a very big thank you to Lindsay, Pimhatai, CD Mess, Ava, Alexis, and Thomas. Thank you
Thank
all for
you.
your continued support.
We heart you.
We hurt you. Remember, folks, if you want to get your name in the credits, you can hop on over to patreon.com/pixeltherapypod, where you can subscribe for free to stay up to date on all things Pixel Therapy. Or for as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our Patreon exclusive monthly bonus episode. And in December, our monthly bonus episode was on Arcane, the Netflix
Mhm.
show. We did a little spoiler cast for our December bonus episode because Spencer finally watched it.
Oh
All
my
the peer
God.
pressure finally got to them.
And now
And
it's all I can think about.
yeah, now, you're welcome. That's the only thing that matters. I watched the first season again with my family over the holiday break, and it's a delight. So yeah, go watch Arcane, then listen to our spoiler cast. It's a good time. I think it's worth the
Mhm.
$2 probably. If you're looking for other ways to support the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And you can also check out and subscribe to the Pixel Therapy Pod YouTube channel. That's where we're at right now, live streaming this. We are planning to continue streaming, and we should have more info on that front to share soon. At minimum, we'll continue to do streams for our monthly episodes, but we are going to be bringing back some gameplay streams here soon. So more information on that when we have it. And if you've liked the streams, if you like Pixel Therapy, subscribe to us over at youtube.com/@pixeltherapypod. Click that bell icon to get notifications whenever we go live, and sign up for the Patreon too, free or paid, and you'll be in the loop on everything we're up to as we announce it in this
Mhm.
new year. Same us.
That's right. You
And
can
of
count
course,
on at least one thing to stay the same.
yeah, which is us being inconsistent and too busy and exhausted to do anything. Um, of course, after all that, know that no matter how you choose to engage with us, we appreciate you being here all the same.
Yeah.
And it's time. Let's get cozy. Let's pull up an armchair. Feel free to lie down on the couch. Lie down on the couch. I ran those words together a little bit. Let's talk about our feelings, Spencer. How are you
Mhm.
doing?
Um, I'm okay. Yes,
Yes.
it's January. Yay. Well, we spent a very lovely New Year's together.
We did, despite we were
Um,
both pretty tired, I think,
yeah,
and a little,
lots of
we'd had there was a lot of family this year.
lot of family drama this year.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would say in my case anyway, I don't know that there was a lot of drama, it was just a lot of family.
Just family.
Yeah, I had a week of house guests that culminated in, 2 days of more house guests. Rewarded
Yeah,
myself with more
sorry.
house guests. No, it's
I'm the
fine.
more house guest.
Yes, Spencer and some other friends were the more house guests. No, but it was really nice despite being tired, and then giving myself I don't know if I gave myself I had a migraine then on
We
Monday.
forced Jamie to watch Wicked, half of Wicked, and it was so bad it gave them a migraine.
Yes, that's what it was. No, but then I paid you all back by forcing you to watch Bottoms again.
Then we
So
watched Bottoms at like 1 AM,
yeah, I was like, "There's
bringing in the
45
new year.
45 minutes left of Wicked." Well, yeah, it was at like, it was right after because we paused Wicked to watch the ball drop, and then
Yeah,
we went to go back, and it was like 45 minutes left of Wicked, and I was like, "Let's watch Bottoms," and your partner, who loves Bottoms as much as I
mm,
do, was like, "Okay," and, like, totally forgot
yeah,
about Wicked, and then some
just
people were like,
usurped.
"Oh, I wanted to finish Wicked, I guess I'm going to bed now."
I guess I'm not gonna watch this insane gay movie.
You know what though? My parents loved it, so that's all that matters.
Very family-friendly New
Yeah,
Year's. How about y'all?
they hung in for the bottoms, and I was too drunk to care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. It was nice to see you as
Um,
always.
I have news to share.
Yeah, what's your news?
Jamie handcrafted, hand sculpted
Oh
these
boy.
figurines for me and my partner, Erin. Erin
Mhm.
got a draw me like one of your French girls style Shrek, and
Yeah.
it's like 5 pounds and like a
It's
foot
a
and a
lot of
half
clay.
long.
It's a lot of clay.
And I got a meditating posed Heisme,
Yes.
the UG fat guy from Metaphor ReFantazio. Google
Mhm.
him if
Yeah.
just Google him for the bodily autonomical anatomical complexity
There you go.
of
There you
what
go.
Jamie created from air
You listened to
dried
her.
clay
Mhm.
and then
With
painstakingly painted.
with very clearly no training or skill. Like,
I mean, and that's mind-boggling
eh,
because this is raw talent, people.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna post your figures in Patreon for the curious, because everyone needs to see this.
Oh, wow, that's too
So
much.
sign up for free
But
to our Patreon.
there you go, and you can see my crude sculptures. No,
Uh,
but Spencer gassing me up about it has now made me be like, "Oh, I should do this more and try to get a little bit better at it." So,
yeah.
they sent me literally one Instagram creator's video, and I was like, "Oh, there's like 8 things this person is doing that most people probably do when they work with clay, and I didn't do any of those things." So, yeah, I got some tips and
Hell yeah.
tricks, and next year's gifts will be even better
Oh my
or
god, I can't
something.
wait.
Probably not. Yeah, no, it was fun to do, and we had said we weren't gonna buy each other Christmas gifts, but I don't know, you're always getting me random little thoughtful things, so I wanna do something for you guys,
It's true. I
and
think about you a lot.
you're making the trip out here. And I think about you a lot too.
Aw.
Aw, look at
But know what
us.
else we think about?
Video games?
Yeah.
I got it right. Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes that we get to do every year. I love making a list. You know me, love my
I do.
lists. You do know me, and you know I love lists. But yeah, we're doing our 2024 game of the year. I don't know, it's tough to be like, "This was actually my game of the" I don't know, I think it's all a
Mhm.
little silly.
They're all my
But
games of the
yeah, they're
year.
all my games of the year. These are the games that, hit for us the hardest
Yeah.
in 2024. Games take a lot of time to play, and we wanna celebrate the ones that left an impact,
Mhm.
after this shit show of a year. Uh,
Definitely.
so yeah, we have kind of like our little rundown. Just to say the way we usually do this is we'll answer a few like just general questions about our year of gaming, and then we're gonna go through our kind of our top 5 lists essentially. But we like to give them like funny little personal awards as we go. And also, like, we're pretty flexible. Like, we can pick any game that we played in 2024, even if it didn't come out in 2024. And then we'll talk about our favorite character or characters of the year from games and do a little honorable mentions, and that's the rundown. I don't know why I preface that rundown like we're in a business meeting, but there you go. For
There
this
you
team
have it.
stand up. Yeah. That's what we'll be covering. Does anybody need to add anything else to the agenda?
I think not.
Okay, then
I'm all synced.
let's get started. Spencer, I want to know in the year of 2024, how many games did you play this year?
I played 28 games.
I feel like that's a respectable number.
Yeah, thank
Do you
you.
have last year's
Ev
stat? Because I feel like that's
I
more than
know.
previous years.
I was I was trying to find last year's. I'm so bad at keeping track of things. I swear every year I'm like, I'm gonna use Backlogged, which is like a video game letterboxed thing, like
Yeah.
an app for like tracking your games, and I never do. I just have a crude list like a insane person.
Oh,
Wait, hold on. I think I found it. I think I just now found it
you find it?
somehow.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, last year I played 27 games. So
Woo!
I
So
played
one more.
one more.
I love that. That's
How many did
awesome.
you play?
I played 32. Well, I
Nice.
completed 32. I think, like, I actually
Wow.
tried more games than that, but I don't have that exact
Okay.
number. I completed
What about
32
last year?
games, which is pretty respectable for me. Let's see. Last year, I completed 31. So I also did one more.
Hey!
That's
Crazy.
amazing. Look at us, just one-upping ourselves by literally one
Just
game.
incremental
Mm.
improvement.
I don't even know. I don't know if I would explicitly call it improvement. It's just one more game.
Yeah, real.
What was your most played game? What's the game you spent the most time with?
So,
I mean,
I
Metaphor?
think may have talked about this game
Oh,
last
it's not
year.
Metaphor.
It's not Metaphor, but so the funny thing is the game Against the Storm, I did mention it on last year's Game of the Year episode because I downloaded it for the first time on December 29th, 2023. So, I had been playing it for, like, 5 days, and that's how much I liked it, like, I had talked about it then.
Uh-huh.
But over this past year, I mean, it was only 5 days before the new year that I bought it, so I actually ended up playing this year 242 hours of it.
Yeah, you did. Holy cow. That's a
So,
number. That's gotta be
yeah,
up there
it's
for one of your most played games of all time.
like
mm,
ever.
I feel like Stardew is probably, like, in the 500s for me if you added up across
Mhm.
all the different consoles. 200
Yeah.
in a 200 odd in a year, that's a respectable number. In
Was
a
a rough
year?
year.
I don't think I've ever put that many hours into one game in a year.
Oh god.
That's wow, good
It
job,
was a
buddy.
lot. Thank you.
That must
Yeah.
have been getting you through some shit.
Yeah, just I mean, just for perspective, my 2nd place is Metaphor ReFantazio, of which I played 140 hours,
Wow.
and
Wow.
that's honestly a lot too, but that's 100
Yes.
less hours than that one, so oh my
That's
god.
amazing.
Great game, great
Wow.
game. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, hit me. What
Yeah, so my 2 I also have 2 that I was gonna mention, and they're pretty close.
Okay.
I had 155 hours in Metaphor ReFantazio,
Mhm.
not unexpectedly. That was basically the only thing I played in November and most of December, and was
Can I
happy.
guess what your other one is?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna guess Diablo 4.
No, that was last year.
Oh, that was wow, time
What
flies.
was my multiplayer obsession this year? Because 'Cause you're on the right
Oh,
track.
Helldivers?
Yes, Helldivers 2 is my number 2 at 149 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
Nice,
yeah, that was summer. That was, like, May and June and July was instead
nice.
of going outside and being a real person, I played Helldivers 2 in the dark with my partner and some
In the air
friends.
conditioning,
Yeah, in the air
yeah.
conditioning. Hey, your camera does not wanna
I
stay focused on
know,
you today, does it?
God,
I always feel bad for you.
okay, there I am, I'm here.
There you are.
Oh,
Let me see you in focus.
okay, I'm here.
There you are.
Wow, great,
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed my time with Helldivers too. Maybe it'll come up again on this
Oh,
episode. Maybe,
oh,
maybe,
interesting,
maybe, maybe.
okay.
What was unique about your gaming in 2024? Like, how do you characterize this year of gaming?
Yeah, so I think in general, I guess when I think about Against the Storm,
Mhm,
especially, it's like I think I really started branching out in terms of what types of games I consider for me this year. Um, that was one big one. Like I spent
mhm,
so much time with that game, obviously, as you all heard, we're just bore witness to. But in general, like with our spotlight sessions on YouTube, which is where we would kind of pick a game and just play a couple hours of it and stream. Um, I just found myself kinda giving a chance to games that I, in the past, would have been like, "Oh, that looks cool, but I'm not even gonna try."
mhm,
And our playthroughs, I think a game I'll talk more about it later, but one game in particular, I felt like I never would have finished it on my own. And so, like, playing games together or just, like, having your emotional support nearby, it makes me miss, like 15 or no, is it really 15? No, like 10 years, 12 years ago when,
Mm,
we would just hang out and play games on the couch, like, it kinda
yeah.
felt like that, and uh, I I don't know, I think I just felt like I was kind of returned to a more flexible time where I didn't care so much about, like, "Okay, like, is this the right game that I should be playing, or is this
Yeah.
gonna give me exactly what I want out of it?" And just
Mm,
being more open to a new experience, even if that experience had some friction or felt difficult, or I wasn't even sure if I was having fun at times. Afterwards, I was able to look back and be like, "I grew from this."
mhm.
I think as someone who typically likes games that let me completely escape from reality, and I kind of, um, go to them to, I don't know, just sort of, yeah, get out of my head. Games that force me to be very much in my head, thinking very hard about them and getting through them. It just felt new in a cool way. So, yeah,
That's
I
great.
think that stood out to me this year when I was looking at my list of much more diverse types of games. Um, so what was unique about your gaming in 2024, Jamie?
Yeah. Um, I think for me, the thing that I feel a little bit of that too, what you're saying. Like, I definitely tried some stuff that I don't think I would have default gravitated to this year. I mean, I played both the Prince of Persia game and Tales of Kinzera, which are,
Mm, mhm,
pretty straightforward Metroidvanias, like action platformers. That's not really my style at all. Even, I played Astrobot, loved the fuck out of Astrobot, but platforming games, not really my style at all. So I feel like I definitely was trying some different stuff. I also let myself put another 100 hours into Stardew Valley when I feel like in past years I've been like, if this isn't something that I'm playing for the podcast or to like have an opinion about, why am I playing it? Um, and did the same thing with, oh my god, I didn't even really enjoy it, and I should have stopped playing it, but the newest Final Fantasy game, is it 16? I, liked,
mm.
2/3 of that game, and then the back third, I wanted to stab my own eyes out, but at that point, I had already committed, 50 hours, so I was like, "I've gotta keep going." But, that was a game we never talked about on the podcast. I don't know, I, did
Yeah.
stuff even though it wasn't gonna have any, just to try it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I also really, played across a lot of different things, this was a year where I played a lot of games on PC, specifically my Steam Deck,
Mm,
and, some of that was the Steam Deck hooked up to the TV where I'm playing it with a controller, and it's basically just a console, but still, it really opened up, opportunities for me to try games that I wouldn't have had access to. I played several games on Xbox this year too.
what's
Um
that? I'm so
yeah, I know.
sorry. Sorry, Xbox
Sorry,
gamer.
Xbox, but, yeah, I mean, usually I think last year my note about the year was that, I played almost everything on PlayStation, and this year, when I look at the list of games that I played, and especially even, my top 5, it is a bit more, spread out. I've got 2 PC games on the list, um, and even, on my list of games played, it's pretty much a third each of PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. So, yeah,
Yeah,
diversifying a bit with my tastes and habits.
yeah. No, I was surprised my Steam list out of the 28 this year, 15 of them were PC/Steam. And yeah, that Steam Deck really was my friend this year. Um, Also, quick shout out, Zach in the chat says they look forward to our Game of the Year episode every year. Thanks,
Aw,
Zach. Appreciate
thank you, Zach.
it.
That's so nice.
Ah,
Aw, I love that.
yeah, appreciate ya.
Yeah.
So, should we get into our top fives or our
Yes.
five awardees?
Yes, we should. I'm just a little oh, I see what's going on. Sorry. Just I thought we were having a technical issue, but we're not, thankfully. So,
Oh, great. That's
just
rare.
me panicking, like, in the because I'm running this yeah, it's rare that we're not having one, right? Like, but anytime we're recording or on a stream or something, in the background, I'm, like, trying to monitor and make sure everything's working, and so I'm just constantly, like, half paying attention to that. But anyway, we're not having an issue. That's great news. I was panicking for no reason, like most of the times I'm panicking. Let's get into our list.
Let's do it.
Do you wanna go first? I'm gonna
Oh
make
my
you go
god.
first.
Okay, I guess I'm going first.
Starting with your number 5.
Well, okay, sorry. Let me just say in no particular order.
Oh,
These
okay,
are
so
like
yours are in no particular order. I guess then,
except for game of the year, which I'll do
okay,
last.
okay, game of the year you'll do last. I guess
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and I think for a lot of times we've avoided too much overlap between our lists. But on the
Mhm,
off chance that we have overlapping games, how do you wanna
mhm.
handle that? So, like, if you say a game and I have it, because mine is numbered, uh,
Okay.
but maybe it doesn't really matter. I guess it doesn't matter. I think if I have a game on my list too, then we should just talk about it at the same time, and
Yes,
vice
I
versa. I
agree.
don't wanna us to talk about it separately.
Agree.
So yeah, I don't really care that much about the order, like, rolling it out because 'cause they're all pretty good. But yes, I'll treat my game of the year like a separate.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that that's figured out, here he is. We're making the sausage live on the podcast. You're
Who are you?
welcome.
Here
You're
is your
welcome. Who
sausage.
doesn't like a behind the scenes? You're welcome. Here's your sausage. If you're vegan, just eat it anyway. I don't know.
It's vegan sausage.
Oh, it's vegan sausage. There you go.
My first award
Award.
is this is so long. It says game that I wrote this is what I wrote, "Game that
Yes.
reignites your passion for how games are made/ the magic of making games." Like,
Wow.
a game that just really made me excited to be someone who loves games and
Aw.
reminds me of why I love people who make games. And that game is Balatro.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
it's
Give
just this
Balatro its flowers.
awesome roguelike poker-esque game, which is full of fun surprises, just really punchy art and music, and you think, "It's a poker game, what could be so good about that?" And that's
Mhm.
what makes Balatro so amazing. It, developed mostly solo, I believe, by Local Twonk is the developer, and it just came out of nowhere, earlier this year, and I played it on the Nintendo Switch, and it was just so delightful. As soon as I started the game, the kind of onboarding and the mechanics of it, like every piece of it felt so deceptively simple, and you could really see the amount of thought and care and craft that was put into it. And it just made me fall in love with the whole gaming thing. Like, I think it reminds me too that I think sometimes we can get jaded of like, what else is there to innovate or what else is there to create in the gaming world? Like everything has been done. But Balatro is one of those games that reminds us that like, okay, sure, every story has been told, like there are no new ideas. And at the same time, there's always a new way to present an idea or a new way or a new perspective to take on an idea that can absolutely make it feel fresh and exciting. And so everyone should go download Balatro. That's my first game.
Yeah, Balatro great. It didn't make my list personally, but yeah, just such an inventive game, and another one of those ones that wouldn't usually be something that I'm immediately drawn to,
Mhm.
but I only played it for, like, a couple of weeks, but for that period of time that it had me, it really had me, and it was a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of fun trying to figure it out. Once I felt like I'd personally, like, quote, unquote, "conquered" it by, like, I beat a run and, like, I don't know, just, like, kept going for, like, an extra 10 levels, that kind of Eh, I didn't feel compelled to keep going back to it after that,
Yeah.
personally, but that's just because I don't know, my brain's broken and I wanna, like, beat a thing and then move on from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so creative. I love the art, I love the little I think he's got a name, but I don't know what it is, the little Joker character,
Mhm.
um, the little cackle.
Mhm.
It's fucking been it that game's, like, going through all this shit right now where it's getting, like, blocked in certain countries as, like, gambling and, like, targeted as 18 plus, and it's all very silly because there's
It
no
is,
actual
yeah,
gambling in the
there's no
game.
money.
It's so weird, it's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, go look it up 'cause I've just, like, very poorly delivered that news story, but it's facing a bunch of, like, controversy that it absolutely doesn't deserve, and it was such a creative game, and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, very, very special.
Yeah,
I guess I should go.
I guess.
I guess let's give the people what they want. I love how long that title was because I kept mine, like, super short this year. So the
Ooh,
first award that I would like to give out is for the tearjerker.
ooh,
And
mm.
for me that year, that was I mean, there were multiple games that brought a tear to my eye, but the one I'm
Mm,
crediting here is Neva.
mhm.
Um, does Neva on your list at all?
Uh, it's in my honorable mentions
Okay.
list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so Neva, we did a whole episode on Neva. This was from the folks who made Grease. It's the game about a woman in the woods raising a large wolf creature to fight against these dark, shadowy forces. And Neva was just, I feel like Neva's a game that's kind of tailor made for me. There's like some
Uh,
Miyazaki ness to like Studio Ghibli kind of like vibes that it has,
uh.
but I just like, yeah, I feel like somebody like scanned my interests and the things that would like get to me emotionally and then like compacted that all into a game. The like main theme uses Vivaldi's Four Seasons and like adapts it, which is just like a beautiful fucking piece of
Mm,
orchestration that's so pretty and
mhm,
I don't know, it like twists it and takes it from like happy to sad in like a really special way. So I still fucking listen to
mhm,
that all the time. And the artwork of the game, I mean, just the fact that you can pause it on literally any screen
mm.
and it would just it's a painting. Like,
Yes.
I feel like I need to
Mm,
get some Neva artwork at some point
mhm,
because it's just so pretty to look at, so great to listen to. And I liked that, you know, as much as I had played Grease and it just didn't stick with me as much, there was something about that game that just didn't quite connect for me. Maybe it's just that Neva had an animal in it, like, that honestly could be part of it again, like, somebody, like, got into my head on this one. Um, but I thought that gameplay meshed really like, was just enough. It was complicated enough to keep things interesting, the puzzles and stuff, but it was never enough to hinder the storytelling for me, and I just love how the game can be read in a lot of different ways. You could read it as a climate change allegory, you can read it as a parenthood allegory, it can be about processing grief, it could even be about dealing with chronic illness. I think it works on a
mm,
lot of levels and has a lot of ways in as something to connect with. And because it doesn't have a lot of like there's really no dialogue. There's not a lot of really explicit storytelling. It leaves itself really open to interpretation and to kind of getting out of it what you want to put into it. And I know that that doesn't and didn't work for everyone, but for me, for where it hit, when it hit, it really emotionally impacted me. I think it's an absolutely beautiful game, and it's the kind of game that's short enough that I feel like, you know, in a year or so I could go back and revisit it and re-experience that story, and it would still be just as special. So I look forward
yeah.
to doing that and really enjoyed my time with Neva this year.
Mhm, mhm.
Anything
Yeah,
you wanted to
real.
add?
Yeah, I mean, I do love an immersive game where there's, like, very minimal UI or anything really interrupting your gameplay, and it where it's very intuitive in terms of, like, something I liked about Neva was, like, you know, it's a side-scrolling game, but it really rewarded kind of any kind of exploration kind of off the beaten path, like, if you jumped towards an area you wouldn't expect to have footing for you to find a new area, or if the game is indicating you should go right, but you go left and see where you end up. Like, it really felt, like this spirit of intuitive curiosity and exploration was, built into the game in such a way that, like, you couldn't tell just by looking at the screen. I guess you could tell just by looking at the screen, like, what might I be able to do? And
Mhm.
that kind of design with the use of artwork and and illustration that's so subtle is just a very magical style of gameplay that feels very enjoyable. Like, it really feels like you're, like you said, exploring like a painting or
Mhm.
like a living tapestry.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool game. I guess okay, that's I think it's somewhat related to my the next one I'll share.
Okay, yeah, segue
In
us.
terms of doing a lot while saying very little. I think
Mhm.
literally the award I wrote down was game that made me feel the most while saying so little
Okay.
was Kunitsugami Path of the
Mm,
Goddess.
mm. One that was on my
Um,
honorable mention.
nice. Yes. Again, just a gorgeous, gorgeous game. I think a game that
Yeah,
my
no doubt.
appreciation for deepened even more when I learned that the team actually built by hand physical models with like sand and moss and paint, like actually built sets and figurines for the game. Actually, like there's this whole practice of buying and giving desserts to the goddess in the game. There was a baker who made those desserts, like, made them physically in the real
Mhm.
world, and then the team 3D scanned everything and built the game around that. All the effects are practical. Every explosion you see in the game is a practical effect. Like, there's
Yeah.
videos of the team, like, creating these explosions and then recording them and bringing them into the game. It's just like it felt like watching a movie being made. Just a really gorgeous, gorgeous game. There's not really many games that I spend 20 minutes just looking at a piece of mochi and turning it around 360
Or
degrees
watching your
and
girlfriend eat a piece of mochi.
watching my girlfriend slowly eat them. Um, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous game. And so the main character does not speak, and is masked throughout the game.
Mhm,
They're, like a spirit warrior, dressed very ornately, and in a kind of like feudal Japan style, like, outfit. They carry a sword, they have decorated armor
mhm.
and these masks. And yet I really felt there were moments in the game that I felt moved and very emotional. It's just Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward premise of sort of fighting back this dark entity that's taking over the land, and it kind of plays on themes of kind of humanity's role in being stewards of the earth and what happens when we take too much without remembering um, kind of what we owe to the world around us. Um, and it's just a technically and mechanically, like, perfect game, like,
Mhm.
and another one that I think wouldn't be my typical fare, like,
Yeah.
it has these day and night cycles, and the day is spent kind of strategizing and preparing for nightly attacks on a town or base that you're currently progressing through. So to me, that's like incredibly stressful, especially this idea of there will be endless streams of enemies coming at me until dawn breaks. It's very much based on time-based combat and executing combos and all of these things, that I'm not typically, like, super great at. But I had immense enjoyment playing the game, and it was, I think, perfectly paced. Um, so yeah, I loved Kunitsugami, and I just appreciate every aspect about how it was put together.
Yeah, that it's one of those games that, like, it didn't have the emotional highs for me personally that it did for you, but, like, mechanically and artistically and everything else, like and the emotional highs, just to be clear, emotions and narrative are usually, like, what's gonna end up determining my top 5 games. So that's really why this ends up it's a little lacking in narrative, and then it didn't hit me in the feels as much as it worked for you, but, like, that's kind of why it ends up in my honorable mentions instead of one of my top 5.
Mhm.
But, like, in terms of execution, I feel like it's basically a perfectly executed game, and such a unique fucking swing for Capcom to take. Like, I don't know
Yes.
what had to happen over there for this game to get made, but it's combining so many, like, disparate elements. It just feels like something we don't see from big developers and
Mm,
publishers very often anymore,
mhm.
and that made it such this weird breath of fresh air. And it's also a game, like, I don't I thought it looked interesting, but because I had access to it through Xbox Game Pass, it was, like, really easy for me to just be like, "I'll give it a shot." Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. It's not my typical game, but I'll give it a shot. And then absolutely loved it and was, like, texting you, like, "I think you should check this game out. I think this
Yeah.
game's pretty fucking good." Um, yeah, what a yeah, I would love to know, like, what fucking came together to get us this game because
Mhm.
it feels like something that we never should have existed, but somehow
Yeah.
did and was kind of perfect.
Especially in the way the industry is now in terms of cost and
Yeah.
timing and how quickly can we get something out and how
Mhm.
little human effort can be involved. It's like to
Yeah.
see a game so slowly and intentionally put together, and by that I'm referencing, like, the hand building and all of
Mhm.
the physical effort that went into creating a digital experience, was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and just the fact that again, it's not like anything else really out there in the market. I feel like
Yeah.
it's tough to get a game greenlit at a large publisher that isn't just kind of doing like isn't trying to ape another game.
Mm. Mhm.
So
More
pretty
of
fucking
that, please.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Also, in terms of, like, emotional attachment, like, I'm the type of person who 2 days ago, I saw a stuffed animal pretzel, like, it's like a pretzel with 2 black eyes and a black line for a mouth and 2 legs. I, like, started crying at the store and immediately bought it and brought
Oh
it
my
home, so
god.
it's like, I can form an emotional attachment to, like, any inanimate object if you just tell me something about it.
Hey, that's
So
great. Never change. Never
oh
change. I
god.
mean, I
Okay.
basically named as my one on my short list because it had a big wolf deer in it, and that was all I needed. So
If
that's
I
good.
Jamie's favorite genre is little guy plus wild, huge animal
Yeah,
thing.
I do love a little guy with a huge animal. We got Trico, we got Last Guardian, we got Neva. I'm sure we could come up with more examples.
What's next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, hit me.
All right. uh So kind of not in a similar vein of like, I'm surprised we got this and that it hit as hard as it did.
Mhm.
My next award that I'll give out is the Time Suck. And I'm giving that to Helldivers 2.
Mm.
Because that was and when I say Time Suck, like not just like I spent a lot of hours on it, but when I was playing Helldivers 2, I was not present in my body. I was gone.
It's
Like
like
the
Avatar.
yeah, like one like match or session or whatever you wanna call it in that game was like 45 minutes, and the time would just melt. Like, it
Mm.
would be like, after dinner, you wanna play some Helldivers, hun? Boot that thing up, and then the next thing you know, it's like, "Oh my god, it's 11 o'clock at night."
Oh my
Like, where
god.
did the last 4 hours go? And that's
Yeah.
how I managed to spend, 150 hours in Helldivers 2 in a matter of just, like, a month. It
Mm.
was yeah, it was a whirlwind. And I don't that's part of why I don't, when a multiplayer game hooks me like that, that's usually what happens. It's like, I just fucking hyper focus and I'm gone. And so I don't try to pick up too many games like that because I it doesn't you don't feel good, like, after the
Mm.
game, like, when you've spent an entire Saturday, like,
It's like a
just
bender.
yeah, it is like a bender, and it's different from playing something like Metaphor well, Metaphor there were grinding moments
Mm.
where I could get into that mode. But, like, it's
Mm.
different than playing something that's more narrative, where I feel like I'm a little more present and I'm engaging with the narrative. When I get into these games where it's just all about the gameplay like that, and you're just going you finish one match and then you go back out and do the next one. I don't know, yeah, you come out of it and you just feel like, "What did I
Yeah.
accomplish? What did I do?" Like, I didn't even advance a story, I just killed bugs for Super Earth. But it was a lot of
Yeah.
fucking fun. I have no regrets. Um, that game hooked me from, like, the opening tutorial. Just the
Mhm.
satire and tone of it was so, like, immediately funny to me. The look of it and the fact that it's weird to say, but it was, like, almost brave to make a game that was as hard as Helldivers is, and then just
Mm,
lean into that it's supposed to be hilarious how hard it is.
mm,
Like, you're
mm,
supposed to die gruesomely. You're supposed to only, like, complete things by the skin of your teeth. You're supposed
mm,
to accidentally drop a line of napalm on your own teammates. Like, these things are supposed to happen, and you're supposed to laugh about them. And for the most part, I could. Like, sometimes, especially when I'm playing a cooperative, like, team game like that, I can get really in my head, like, I'm not doing good enough,
yeah.
I suck. And a lot of the time that I played Helldivers, I wasn't having those feelings because we kind of all suck sometimes and we're all like just scraping by the skin of our teeth. And when you get those moments where you do manage to pull it off and jump into the chopper as it's pulling away from like a million bugs. They're called terminids, but they're just like giant alien bugs like spewing green
Mhm.
goo everywhere, like, as you're taking off in the helicopter as they're all swarming the platform, and I don't know, it was crazy chaos fun, even when it was frustrating, even when it was way too hard, and I loved how into it the community got for a minute there. There was so much, like, role playing happening within the subreddit and people just really leaning
Yes. Oh my
into
god.
the farce of it, the satire of
Mm,
it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun while I was in it. The community, like, can skew toxic like any of these communities
sure.
can, and there are people you would play with that would just be complete assholes, but by and large, it's one of the few games where I haven't felt that weird about jumping in with randos.
Mhm.
Never talking, like, don't talk on the mic with randos because I still have a deep fear of, like, yeah, them finding out I'm not a cis dude,
Yeah,
and that being, like, a
right,
point of contention because you just don't know what
right.
you're gonna get out there on the internet, but by and large, like, yeah, people just really getting it and going along with it and having a lot of fucking fun with it, and so, yeah, Helldivers
Yeah.
2, one of my games of the year, had an absolute fucking blast with that. I never played the
Mhm.
first one. The first one's a good bit different than this one. I mean, it still has a similar tone, but, like, the gameplay's different.
Mm.
It's wild that Sony took a swing on these folks and let them make this and put it out, and it nobody knew it was gonna be the hit that it was.
Mm-mm.
It was such a disaster at launch because they were just not even remotely prepared for the amount of people who were playing it. I remember there were people who would literally just leave the game on all day to hold their spot in the server
Oh my
before they
god.
implemented, like, stuff that could kick people out after being inactive, but people would just,
Yeah.
like, hold their slot and wouldn't give it up, like,
Wow.
because if you got in, then you wanted to stay in and you didn't wanna stop
Mhm.
playing. That was such a moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a game I'm still not yet brave enough to play as is these kind of massive multiplayer
Yeah.
online, like, first person shooter style games. I'm very bad at them.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, anywhere you look, it's like Helldivers too. Like, you couldn't get away from it, and it was very fun to watch the very, for the most part, very positive, at least from what I was seeing, very positive, very um game, very, very like people getting so into the world of Helldivers and like you said, like role playing in it. Like it felt like everyone was doing this massive, like, what is it, LARPing like
Yeah.
together? Like
Yeah.
everyone was just agreeing to join this world
Yep.
and having so much fun together. And um it was very fun to witness. So
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Alright.
Uh,
Game number 3.
Okay, game
Knowing that they're
number
not ranked at all.
they're not ranked at all. So this next one is game I'm proudest of completing.
M'kay.
Can you guess what it is?
Probably Lorelei?
Yes, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. The most difficult game I've ever played. There were moments
Same.
where
Same.
There were moments, people, where
I know
I
you
was
had hands
not
on the
sure.
sticks, but I'm pretty sure I still counted that as one of my completed games this year. We were
Yeah,
in that shit
yeah.
together.
It was, yeah.
It was a joint effort.
It was. It took all
And
of our
it's
combined
and
brain
then some,
cells,
and then
and
some,
then
and
some.
we still had to Google how to do some
Yeah, we did. We
shit.
tried our
We
hardest.
were rubbing brain cells together trying to start a fucking
Trying to
fire over
spark
here, like,
something.
oh my
New
god.
it was so new neural pathways were created.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I left that game
Oh
dumber than I started, but
my god. That game was who even needs to take the GREs to get into grad school?
Oh
Like,
my
just have
god.
them play Lorelai.
Just play Lorelai and the Laser Eyes.
So, yeah, I get another one of those games that is, uh, just very different from something that I would typically sign
Yeah, out
myself
of
up
both of our
for.
wheelhouse for sure. Wheelhouses.
Oh my god. Like a mystery psychological thriller with very intense literal puzzles,
Mhm.
like how these groupings of numbers, which number would you add up to? Like that kind of shit.
Yeah, there was math, there was
We
science,
did math
there was, like,
in a game.
space shit. There was
This
a lot
video
of
game made us do math.
yeah, this video game made us do a lot of math.
But I had a lot of fun. That's the thing is like I
Yeah,
hate math and I signed myself up for it every week. I wanted to do
yeah.
more math. So I really credit Lorelai and Laser Eyes for making me do math.
I don't think I would have gotten through it solo. Like, I wouldn't have kept playing
No,
it solo. Like,
I would have given up in the first 20 minutes.
wow.
Like,
Well, I did start it on my own, and I played, like, 2 hours, and then I was
mm,
like, "I think I'm all set."
yeah.
And then you
I
were like, "I
dragged you
wanna play
back
this on the
in.
stream," and I was like,
You
"Alright,
were
here we
like, oh
go.
no.
Here we go."
I mean, just, I was shocked when we finished it. I was like, "We did this? Like, we actually did it." I really felt a real sense of accomplishment.
Mhm.
I
As
was
you
proud of
should.
myself.
Yeah.
Like, I wanna put it on my resume. Like, I beat this game, so you should hire me. It was also just, really interesting storytelling. It kinda reminded me of Alan Wake too, both from the vibes of, like, this mostly dark and shadowy with some red interesting uses of red, um, as well as there's, like, time loops going on, there's weird things with perspective. It's just, like, visually, mechanically, uh, I don't know what other words there are. It's like puzzles on every level,
Yeah, yeah.
like optical illusions as well as like logic as well as number stuff and pattern recognition, and
Mhm.
it all comes together in a very convoluted and hard to understand
Story? Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
um, but at the end of it you come out of it feeling like we did that. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not typically someone who's like an achievement hunter or like someone who feels like I don't often care about trophies or things like that, but I would literally accept a plaque that says, "You completed Lorelei the Laser Eyes," and I would proudly hang it on my wall.
I gotta write that down
Um
as a gift idea.
There you go. So, yeah, any comments on
No,
that
that game was hard as
experience?
shit. Like I said, I feel like I submitted my comments while you were going. Would not have
Uh,
beat that on my own. I do think it was a very interesting game, and props to the designers of that because you were a lot smarter than me. But
yeah.
it didn't give me like the bug for puzzle games. Like, I
Mm,
just I know that I've listened to so Patrick Klepek on Remap was talking about this a lot recently. He doesn't consider himself to be much of a puzzle gamer, and a lot of what he was saying resonated with me. But he had kind of like asked audience members to kind of write in and be like,
mm,
explain like what is it that you like about puzzle games? How does someone get into puzzle games? And
mm,
someone that wrote in was saying like, you don't think about it, but puzzle games have a language just like an RPG has a language, just like a
Mm,
shooter has a language. And so if you keep playing more of them, you will start to understand that language and the puzzles will get
mm,
easier. Just
mm,
by the nature of you.
mm,
It's not just a like I'm not smart and therefore I don't get the puzzles. There's a language to the way puzzle games operate that is
mm,
a bit lost on people like us who don't play very many of them. And so you can, in fact, this person was arguing that you can, in fact, train yourself to get better at the puzzles
mm.
and to be better at puzzle games if you play more of them. And Patrick was kind of like, I'm okay with where I'm at. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put that time in to get better. He's like, I find the ones that work for me and the ones that don't, I
Mm,
let go of. And I'm okay with that being my reality. But it
yeah.
was an interesting conversation and what the person had written in was interesting and kind of helped me like reframe it a bit that it's not just like are you not smart or are you
Yeah.
smart? There's a whole language to that and it's like yeah, I can pick up a shooter or an action RPG and like out what I'm doing pretty quickly. There's a language
Mm,
to how you can put skill points into things and like what
mm,
dexterity is and stuff like that I just innately know I don't need a tutorial to explain a lot of that to me,
mm.
or I can figure it out. And with puzzle games, they have their own set of that like the way puzzles will reference each other, or where a puzzle might, the direction it might point you in, or what kind of stuff they want you to be thinking about or noticing. That stuff's not second nature to us as non-puzzle
Yeah.
gamers. Um, and yeah. So I thought that was an
Hmm.
interesting perspective.
Yeah.
But
Not bad.
I definitely am in Patrick's camp of, like, I'm really okay, like
Yeah, I'm
like, I
good.
play enough games, like, I'm okay letting this genre kinda go.
Y'all have fun with that though.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we tried it, I am proud of us for sticking through it on the stream, and we got a lot further than I thought we were going to. Like, I mean, we did finish the game, although I would say, like,
Yeah.
that bit at the very end, we pretty much had to look that up. It lost us, and I think we were both at the point where we were like, "We are finishing this tonight, come hell
Yeah,
or
we're
high
like,
water,"
"Help."
and so
We
we were
can't.
Googling. But the fact that we got that far with pretty minimal Google searching, I'm proud
Mhm.
of, and it was really fun when we figured things out together, but that's more of
Yeah,
an experience that, like, it's hard for me to even judge that game or the
yeah.
quality of it because I think my enjoyment of the experience was completely contingent on us doing that together and doing it on the stream. And there's
Mhm.
no way in hell I would have played that on my own. So,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I commend you for putting it on your list.
I mean, yeah, it was hard and I don't know, like I said, I just really felt tangible growth from that experience, and it made me
That's awesome.
appreciate too that, like, there are people who can play these games solo, and that's great. And there are also very rich online communities where people are exchanging
Yeah.
theories and
Yeah.
answers and solves, and I like that part of gaming too, of, like, the
Hmm.
shared, open book test style of gaming. It's like, this is supposed to be fun. This
Hmm.
is supposed to be engaging, and if that means kind of, like, leaning on the help of and insights of strangers, it's just, like, one of those games that made me appreciate, like, people and how different we all are and all that. I don't know, I really had fun with it, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay, your turn.
Yeah, my turn. This one might be on your list. So we'll see if we're going to talk about it now or not. My next award that I'm giving out is the Thematic Powerhouse.
Mm.
And for me, the game that I wanna give that award to is 1000 Times Resist.
Mm, mhm.
Not on your list?
It's it's technically on my list, but not one of my 5, so
Okay. So
yeah,
it's
you
another
go.
honorable mention?
It's, my character of the year
Gotcha,
is
gotcha, okay.
Watcher from 1000
Well, you
Exorcists,
shouldn't
so
have spoiled that.
well, I just
Wow, rewind the
I'll
tapes.
share my other
Your other observations. Okay.
yeah.
Um, yeah, 1000 Times Resist, PC game, unusual for me to have that on my list. Um, I think what I'm still stuck on with this game is just how many, like, themes and narrative threads it tied
Mm,
together and delivered
mhm.
on in a way that felt, like, completely great. Like, the places that this story goes, the years that it covers, the amount of characters, and the fact that, like, 95% of those characters are all clones of the same person, and yet
Mhm.
they still manage to give them distinct and unique personalities.
Mm.
The fact that all of that comes together in an ending that is incredibly satisfying and really leaves you, like, feeling emotionally impacted and scratching your head, like, I'm in awe of the writing of this game. I think
Yeah.
the gameplay, has its issues. I mean, the navigation, the, like, map and
Mhm.
navigating the world definitely aren't perfect, but
Mhm.
the narrative for me is so strong that
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And
Mm.
I think, I don't know, I think it needed to be a game. I don't know, I guess something that I've thought about with this is whether or not, like, if this were, like, an anime series, would it have the
Mhm.
same impact? Is it important to be in the shoes of the various characters, Iris and Watcher and Blue? Uh, or could you just turn this into a different piece of media, and would the impact be the same? I don't know. What we have is the game, and I think it is incredibly impactful to actually be positioned as those characters and to make the choice at the end that you get to make. I
Mhm.
don't wanna spoil the game, so I'm gonna just leave it vague like that, but I don't think this, even though this is in a lot of ways a visual novel where you move the character around a bit more, I don't think it, I think it presents you with enough choice and enough involvement in the story that it would only work as a game, and it's
Yeah.
incredibly powerful. There's still so many, like, little moments or even just, like, things like the fact that, um, the I don't even know. It's a game that's hard to talk about in any small way because it's such a big, expansive game. But, in the beginning of the or not even the beginning of the game, but in the time in the game that is meant to be closest to our time, because the majority of the game is set in the far-flung future, but in the time that is essentially our time, there's the disease that starts to kill people is that they
Mhm.
essentially cry themselves to death. Like, that
Mhm.
still sits with me.
Yeah.
The fact that this game is doing everything, it's, like, commenting on the place of religion in society, it's commenting on, power, structures and systems of power and oppression of people, it's commenting on intergenerational trauma, it's commenting on,
Mhm.
like, the diaspora,
Mhm.
like, it's commenting on COVID-19, like,
Mhm.
and the isolation that everyone felt around that, and it still manages to, like, have these moments that feel super small and interpersonal, um, like, between a character and her mother, between a character and a friend at school, between, people who have feelings for each other, people who feel like they are family towards each other, but can't trust each other. It's yeah, the game has a lot of layers. It was also really cool to have Remy and Pinky from Sunset Visitor on the
Yeah, they
podcasts
were
and get
great.
to talk with them. They were so generous, with their time and all the answers that they gave us, and, um, just the fact that this story came out of them, came out of this team is really fucking cool. I
Yeah.
It was such a powerful game when I was playing it. It was a game that, like, really had me by the throat almost the whole time I was playing it, where
Mm.
I just didn't really wanna put it down. I wanted to keep
Mm.
pushing, keep seeing what was gonna happen, and all the twists and turns and the way everything paid off in the end, just yeah. I don't think you see a lot of sci-fi stories or stories that get that complicated and still manage to land the plane that perfectly.
Totally. Yes.
So, I think
Mm.
even just on that narrative alone and what they were able to accomplish and communicate through those stories, deserves recognition.
Mm. Snaps.
Is there anything you wanted
Agree.
to add?
I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of it I mean, like, not really. I mean, I think
Yeah,
you
okay.
you really covered it really well, but the reason I chose Watcher as my character of the year, and I think when we get to that, I'll share one of my other picks because I had a
Okay.
hard time choosing.
Yeah. There's
But,
a lot of good characters this year.
just that really, I think it's all of the sisters, who were clones of the All-Mother, which is something that's discussed very early in the game,
Yeah.
but, like you said, the fact that they were all clones, but each had their own unique style and look so that it was like, it's not like you would mistake or mix up one for the other. Um, and the amount of just nuance and emotional
Mhm.
impact that was charging every interaction, and even moments of self-reflection, like, it was just it's everything. It's like one of those games that I think everyone should play.
Mhm.
It's like, if there's a list of all games you need to play in your lifetime, 1,000 X Resist should be one of them, and it's just, in my opinion, super underrepresented out there, out in the world, so
Yeah. Yeah.
go play that one too.
Mhm. Give me another
Okay,
one.
am I supposed to follow that somehow? Um, so complete shift. Um, my next one is most underutilized,
Okay.
and that game is The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay.
Um, I think as a fandom, we were all really looking forward to what would this new Legend of Zelda game be with Zelda as the protagonist. And there's nothing inherently wrong with Echoes of Wisdom. I played it start to finish. I had a great time. I was delighted by the sort of that spirit that carried over from Tears of the Kingdom, which is centered on this idea of kind of how can I break the game? How can I use the tools and pieces this game is giving me and kind of do something unexpected and out of left field and solve this puzzle in a way that no one would have intended, but the game is going to let me do because of the freedom that it allows me. Like all of that came through and I really enjoyed it. I just felt like there were some things about it that left me feeling almost like I guess that's why I said underutilized. It's like
Mm.
I was expecting a bit more. Like I'll start with the art style. The art style in Echoes of Wisdom, I think is the same kind of almost like wooden doll, low detail kind of look from I think the game was A Link to the Past, one of the earlier Zelda titles. They carry that over into this game. And so it's like you're really looking at a doll. Like there's very little detail. There's not much emotion that can be read on these faces. It comes across as a very childish and child audience oriented game.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that comes through in the level of puzzles and the sort of tone of the story as well. Um, and it's absolutely a game that can be played and enjoyed by all ages, but there's a certain lightness and lack of depth to Echoes of Wisdom that I think makes me feel like Tears of the Kingdom was such a rich, emotionally deep, like like I don't know what the word like
Epic.
game.
Like, yeah.
It was just intense
Yeah.
and that's also a game played by people of all ages, but this one very felt very much directed towards kids. Like even as an adult playing it, like the puzzles were very, very simple, even compared to some of the easiest like temples, or was that what they're called? Temples in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Shrines. Yeah.
Shrines. Like it was just the most basic version of
Mhm.
those puzzles. It very much felt like something directed at, like, a 4 or 5-year-old versus, like and again, I'm pausing because I still think kids that young have played, um, Tears of the Kingdom and enjoyed them. Maybe they're not playing the full main story from beginning to end, but there's plenty to do in the world of Tears of the Kingdom for people of all ages, and it just felt like this game was really only for like, in terms of people looking for a challenge, it it was not gonna give you that,
Mhm.
and, Zelda is a silent protagonist in Echoes of Wisdom.
Mhm.
Why? Like, you know, Link has canonically been a silent protagonist, and we've come to expect that from his character, but Zelda has always had a voice, and so it seems strange to me that in a game where she was now taking the reins and being the center of the story, I was very surprised that that her voice was taken away.
Mhm.
So in conclusion, anyway, and here's my 5 paragraph essay. I just felt like I appreciated the game. I'm glad we got a game about Zelda, and
Yeah,
I sort of felt like she was um given the short end of the stick a bit. Like it felt like it just I don't know, there were some things about it that made me feel like this could have been a lot more.
yeah,
And we could have seen more of her character. Like coming out of this game, I don't feel like I learned much more about who Zelda is or gotten a new perspective on Zelda because like sorry, more stuff's coming to my mind. You learn some more about Link in the game. Like there's a this is the first game to give a reason for why he does not speak.
mhm,
And in this game in combat, you're able to wield a sword, but it's only when you're basically allowing Link's spirit to possess you and you become Link. Like you're not Zelda wielding the sword, like you are,
yeah.
but it's like Link's spirit overlays you and like basically possesses you and you're able to do what Link does. You're able to jump higher, you're able to swing your sword, you're able to throw bombs. And it's like,
For
why do
some
I
reason,
have
this is
to
this is such a non sequitur, but it's making me think of, the Lock Tomb series and the Cavaliers and the Necromancers.
Yeah, yeah.
Like anyway.
Everyone go read Gideon the Ninth, and we'll see you in a few weeks
Yeah,
after your
yeah.
brain has been
When we
broken.
start our new podcast series, The
We start
Lock
a new
Tomb.
podcast series. But yeah, it just kind of felt like, oh, okay, so even these things are being attributed to Link and his influence that I'm co-opting and not coming from Zelda herself. When we know, like from across the series, like Zelda has her own power. She's Sheik, who is like this ninja, like, kind of stealth,
Mhm.
assassin type of character. It's like, where was that? So anyway, I just kinda feel like
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Zelda in more of her own power and to come away from that knowing her more deeply, and so I can only hope that in the future we'll get more Zelda-centric Zelda Legend of Zelda titles, and I still very much enjoy the game, but that's why I'm giving it underutilized
Mhm.
because I want it even more.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
I think that's what I'm gonna skip, unfortunately.
yeah.
That style, like, I think it's probably like a very well designed and smartly designed game. It's very polished. Like it
Mhm.
looks like the look of it and everything is great, but it feels like it's like a snack.
Mhm.
It's too light. It doesn't have any teeth to it. It doesn't have any meat to
Mhm.
it. Um, and it's just there to be cute and a fun time. And that's not really enough to pull me into a game, unfortunately.
Real,
At least
real.
not, I think if I was more of a Zelda stan, like, if I had more history with the games, I think it would work for me because, again, I played Astrobot and loved Astrobot, and that Astrobot's
Mhm.
not doing anything more than just trying to be a fun time. Not necessarily
Yeah.
shitting on games that do that, but there has to be a hook for me. With Astrobot, like,
Mhm.
I do have a history with PlayStation and a history with Astrobot, so that was a fun thing to jump into, but I don't have all that
Yeah.
history with the Legend of Zelda franchise, so it just, doesn't really entice me. But
Yeah.
I'm my hope is that that was a testing ground to bring Zelda into the forefront, and that we'll hopefully see her at the helm of more Legend of Zelda games in the future, and that it won't just
Yeah.
be a one-off. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Mhm.
Um, so I have a theory
Okay.
that we're not going to talk about my next one quite yet, or we
Why?
can talk about. I think it's probably your number one, having heard your list so far. Uh, but my number two is
Okay.
the inspirational epic,
Okay.
Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yes.
ReFantazio? I
I
still don't know
mean,
how to say it.
yeah.
Is that your
Yeah.
number 1?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be FFR.
By far. Well, it's since it's your number 1, I wanna pass the mic to you first. I want you to get a chance
Oh,
to talk
no.
about it. It's your game
Okay.
of the year.
It's my game of the year. I mean, we just had like, if you wanna know why, just
Yeah, we've
listen to
already
our
got,
previous
like, an
episode.
hour and a half recorded or whatever it was.
Um, but I mean, this to put it simply, this is the game. Like,
It's your game of, like, life,
it's my
right?
game of my life.
Do you think
Like,
this is your favorite game of all time?
yes,
Okay,
unequivocally yes.
okay. This is the
Like,
one. If Neva was made for me, Metaphor was made for you, like,
yeah, that
tailor-made.
was made for
Somebody
me.
cracked your brain open, they found all the things that were gonna, like,
Yeah,
get you, and then they put it all
yeah.
into a game.
It has
Very different
it's
games that were tailor-made for
yes.
each of us.
100%. It has it all. It has turn-based combat. Everyone is bisexual and trans. You'll see why by just looking at them. It
I
has
was gonna say, I don't
like
that's not, like, canonically in the game at all, but
it's not
and
mentioned.
yeah, I'm not discounting it, I'm just think we should be clear.
It has you know, it's very political, like, in
Mm,
the sense that, like, it has radical ideas of what society should look
mhm,
like or could look like, well, without being naive enough to think that there is any one answer for all of life's suffering and struggle. It's talking about, the human spirit. It's got cooking. It has, no romance, so that's my one detractor.
yeah, fucking Atlas. We're gonna make an adult game for adults. Play as an 18-year-old boy who can't romance anybody in the game.
Atlas, come on now. I have to hope that there will be another metaphor game, I hope.
You think we're getting a sequel?
I felt like the ending left it in a way that there could be one.
Sure.
That would be
Do you think we're gonna
cool.
get, like, a direct sequel? Because they don't do that with Persona, right?
That would be
We don't
crazy.
see those characters again in the Persona series. It's always,
True.
similar type of story, but total reset. Um,
True. I would be happy with either,
you'd be happy with
honestly.
either?
I just think the world they've created is really, really interesting. I agree. It would be like there'd have to be a whole new structure for whatever narrative comes next. So there is that. I don't know if that can be repeated in as impactful of a way.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like a game that reaches back across the uh, not all the way back, but far enough back towards kind of early ideas of what civilization could be and brings it all into the present with cool anime cutscenes in a way that just is like, yes. I don't know how else to put it. Listen to my last
Mhm.
episode. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, Metaphor ReFantazio, everyone should play it. Everyone won't play it because
Mm,
it's a
yeah.
game that demands of you 140 plus hours of your time.
Mhm.
But so rare is it to find a game that is that long and yet you're still able to follow from beginning to end. Like the story has an arc. It's epic in scale and yet it never spins out of control.
Yeah.
Um and it makes these big ideas so accessible
Mhm.
and breaks them down into very simple and easy to understand ways that I just think like, not everyone has the access or time to be reading dense texts that are like traded amongst the academic elite. But like everyone I think can play metaphor and understand what it's saying. And so I just really appreciate that. Like it's
Mhm.
awesome. And I love video games. The end. What did you have to say about metaphor?
I mean, yeah, you've said a lot of good stuff that I agree with, and we do have a whole podcast on the topic, so I don't wanna belabor it, but,
Sure.
this game ends up, my number 2 of the year because it's also it's long, but other than that, it's a perfect video game. I think obviously the narrative really fucking hits for me. It's so inspirational, it's so political without being, overly naive, um, or even, like, lecturing. It wears its politics, like, so proudly. It
Mhm.
reminds me a bit of, Salt Sea Chronicles too, in the way that
Mhm.
it's engaging with politics and particularly, like, super leftist politics from the perspective of how could we really enact this, and not just an
Mm.
idealized and somewhat naive,
Mm.
perspective. It's really and I would say Disco Elysium, like, has more variety in it and also takes an overall, like, darker view, but still games that are, like, saying like, actually trying to ask you to engage with your own values and beliefs and how those could be applied in real scenarios and what that
Yeah.
would look like and what the impact of that would be and the imperfections
Yes.
of it, and letting you play around with that and experiment with it a little bit and question it and think through your own values and beliefs and put them to like some sort of a litmus test, I think is really valuable and
Mhm.
helpful and not something that I think it and then it inspires you to go try to do that in your real life. Inspires you to try to take that next step of trying to put your values into action. And I think that's really cool. And it does all that while also like having a bunch of like, yeah, hot anime characters and like really silly character moments and fun moments. And I laughed many times. It got me at the end with a couple of tearjerker
Yeah.
moments. And it really, it's a 150-hour game. So, like, the first 10 to 15 hours, it was slow to hook me, but once it hooked me, it
Mhm.
didn't let go, and I saw it all the
Mhm.
way through, and mechanically, it was so fun. I've talked about in our other podcast, but with, turn-based games are not my first choice, actually, especially ones, like this that are so grindy. Like, I don't find repetitive battles, grindy battles that you have to do to
Sure.
just to
Yeah.
level up to be all that fun and engaging. But I think, I've had that issue with some of the other the other Persona games that I've played. It's been kind of my least favorite part of the game. And I think Metaphor makes a ton of great improvements to the combat, to the way you engage with combat, to just keep it flowing quickly. And even when you are grinding, it feels very quick and um, efficient and less like a waste of time and more fun and engaging. They made a lot of just great changes to the formula there. I'm excited to see those carry forward into future Atlas games. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot here that was really fucking good and special, and it's not my personal favorite game of all time, but damn, I really enjoyed that ride.
Mm. Mhm.
Really enjoyed.
So what is your number 1?
My number 1 game of the year, folks might be able to predict. I wrote, like, fucking 1,000 words about it on our Patreon. But my number 1 game of the year is Arco. I
Mm.
gave it the whole package award, my game of
Mhm.
the year. Another game we had so many great games that, like, hit on every level. I feel like,
Yeah.
1,000 Times Resist is like, the mechanics aren't always quite there, but the story's so good, and I feel like a lot of
Mm.
times those are kinda like the concessions that I'm making when I'm choosing my favorite games. It's like, well, it wasn't quite this, but like this aspect was so good. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of my lists this year are games that really did just fucking nail it across the board. And I would put
Mm.
Arco in that camp. The only ding I can give Arco is that the combat, if you're not someone who's super familiar with kind of like real time um, strategy games, uh, it takes a little bit to really like grok it and get a handle on it. At least it did for me
Mm.
personally. And so for the first, like, maybe quarter to a third of the game, I was feeling very challenged by the combat. But I do think the game is forgiving in the sense that it gives you a lot of opportunities to back out of combat. You can even make decisions that avoid combat altogether. I'm just a
Mhm.
fucking mule about it and kept like was like, "No, I'm gonna do this fight," and then
Yeah.
had to do the fight like 15 times. That's on me. Don't be me. Just do other things if the combat's too hard for you.
Yeah.
Um, but once I did get the combat, oh, buddy, like, I was so into it. You feel like a fucking god of death, like, zipping around
Yeah.
and through things, and so fucking cool. You look this game up, and it's, like, such a simple little pixel art game, but, like, still really managed to be really pretty, creates these really interesting vistas. Your character is such a small piece on the screen, and the world around you is, like, what takes up most of the screen in this in the main gameplay, there's times where it's side scroller, and then in the combat, it's more of, like, kind of a top-down, sort of isometric view. But what really, like, grabbed me from the beginning with this was the setting. It's billed as like a, I wanna get the phrase, a Mesoamerican fantasy RPG.
Mm,
And it uses what I would say are, like, traditionally Western film aesthetics, which for me are something that I have a lot of nostalgia for.
mhm,
I growing up, my both my dad and my grandfather were super into westerns. They were like always on the TV. And so I have a lot of nostalgia for that genre, even though I find the vast majority of the material in it to be super problematic.
mhm,
There's stories that primarily like, they always focus on the perspective of the colonizers. They tend to like if indigenous people are in the films at all, they tend to be portrayed as villains or like
mhm,
less than human. Women are often super dehumanized in those stories. They're about like this specific form of white male justice.
mhm,
And the lone rugged figure, like
mhm,
taming the untamed wilds, like very manifest destiny kind of shit.
mhm,
So the stories are by and large like not good, but the genre aesthetics have always really just like spoken to me. And what I thought was so cool about Arco is that it takes a lot of those genre aesthetics, but then puts you in the shoes of a character who is indigenous to the land that they're telling the story from. And it's again set in like Mesoamerica, but it's a fantasy story. They're not using real exact places, but they're using cultural touchstones for real people that lived in
mm,
Mesoamerica at this time. Your main character wears a poncho and a large, like, kind of 10-gallon sombrero looking hat, but he uses an arco, a bow, instead of a gun, so he's not a gunslinger. He uses his bow. He rides a llama instead of a horse. Little things like that. There's a point where you play as 4 different main characters over the course of the game. There's 2 characters who ride camels instead,
mhm,
and wear turbans. And so it's the focus of it really shifts, and then the characters themselves and the story that they're going on just really fucking spoke to me. I found all 4 of the main characters to be so unique and human. The writing in the game is really fucking interesting because it even though it's set in this historical setting, uh, the characters kind of talk more like they would today, and so it creates
mhm,
they cuss and they say things like "bro" and stuff like that, and so it
mm,
it creates this sense of, like, you immediately, like, understand them because they're speaking in a way that we would speak today, and you feel an
yeah,
immediate connection to them despite the fact that we're actually, like, really separated in terms of our backgrounds and
yeah,
history and everything. And it's cool how they do that, how quickly they created just, like, a bonding between you and the characters by writing them that way. Um, the story's, like, it's tragic, uh, and so it got me that way. I definitely was very emotionally invested and very emotional about the ending, the way
mm,
everything wraps up, the way it brings the 4 characters' stories together. The game also gives you a lot of choices. It has kind of this almost, Oregon Trail style where, it's all text-based, there's no voice acting in the game, but you'll be working through a conversation, and then you have to make a decision about which way the conversation goes. Or when you're
mm,
traveling between 2 areas on the map, you'll come across a little scene where you can kind of explore the scene in this side-scrolling thing, and maybe you go up to some bushes and it's like you hear a rustle, like, do you investigate? Maybe you investigate the rustle and there's a person there that you can have a conversation with, or maybe you investigate it and it's like a fucking giant lizard monster thing that's gonna try to eat you and now you're in combat. Um, it engages with, some of the cultural touchstones of the people who lived in these areas, like gods of death and, like, evil spirits
mm,
and stuff. And the whole time as you're making these choices, if you make choices that result in a lot of bloodshed, like, whether it's intended or not, like, shit can go really sideways really fast in this game based on the choices that you make, and characters that maybe you liked or didn't wanna die can just very like,
mm,
in a snap second, can
mm,
just be dead. Or you think you're making the right choice, and then it just has these, like, horrible fucking consequences that you couldn't have even remotely foreseen, and you just
yeah,
feel so bad for the character that you just put through this set of decisions, and now they're living with those consequences, but, like, the bad shit never ends the game. It's like it just your character just has to live with the consequences of their actions and yours, And sometimes that'll
Mm,
even show up as, like, they're literally haunted by these ghosts. There's a mechanic in the game during combat, so in between turns, like, everything on the screen freezes, and you have time to make your next tactical decision. But if you are consistently making decisions that are causing your character to be haunted by those decisions, you will literally be haunted during combat, and these ghost enemies will show up, and they don't stop moving. They
mm.
will keep moving towards you even when the rest of the combat on the screen is paused. And so by making, like, if you wanna be like a bloodthirsty
Oh my
asshole and,
god.
like, murder everybody, you're gonna be so haunted that you're just getting bombarded with ghosts while you're in combat. And the only
Ugh,
thing that keeps them at
chills.
bay is drinking
Yeah.
liquor. Like,
Oh my
you
god.
can get a bottle of alcohol and drink that to keep the ghosts at bay. So, I don't know, just the way those mechanics are so, like, tied into both the Western, like, genre stuff, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this guy's so haunted by his past that he's at the saloon getting drunk," and the way they tie that all into the combat, the story, and the characters, and yeah, it's a good fucking game, and I feel like not
Mm.
enough people played it by far. It only has, like, a little over 1,000 reviews on Steam.
Ugh.
It's just sad, it's just tragic. So if you haven't
Yeah.
played Arco, like, go fucking play this game. I promise you it's worth it. It's so
Yeah.
good. The story is so good. The music, the art is so good. I really hope it's published by Panic, but it's just kinda made by these 4 folks that got together and made a game together, and I really hope they get to do something else because
Mhm.
it's really fucking special game. And
Mm,
it's my game of the year. I'm still thinking about it. I played it back in September, and
mm,
it's gonna stick with me for a long time.
mhm. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Very impassioned about Arco.
Yeah.
So, Watcher was your favorite character of the year. Do you wanna talk more
Mhm.
about Watcher, or are you gonna shout somebody else out?
I guess so I had a short list of 2 and then
Yeah,
3. I had 3 on my list, so
okay.
maybe I'll share the spotlight with one of my others.
Yeah, let's spread the
Um,
spotlight around. Get some more people into this spotlight.
so my, runner up for character of the year
Uh-huh.
is Crypt Master from the game Crypt Master.
Yes! Oh my god! Our Thanksgiving grandpa.
Oh my god.
For our video game Thanksgiving, bonus episode that we did in November. We were
Yes.
gonna invite the Crypt Master as, like, a sassy gay grandpa figure at the table.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to the voice acting for this
Oh, for
character.
sure, yeah.
It's just this hilarious, at times, like, deadpan, like, kinda
Very deadpan.
quippy,
Yeah.
sassy.
Yes.
Like, when
Yeah,
you
it's just
hear you hear the phrase "Crypt Master," it evokes this, like, ancient eldritch
yeah,
horror and,
yeah.
like, you think you know what you're getting into. And Crypt Master is just I wanted to keep playing the game and doing shit wrong just to hear him continue to
Oh my
speak and
god,
make fun of
yeah.
me, just amazing, amazing character design, and,
Uh-huh.
Crypt Master, the game, another one that I think folks should check out. I mean, it's short and, just genius in its application, and I have to mention that there's no use of AI in how Crypt Master was put
Yeah,
together, but
so cool.
literally, like, you fight with words, like, skeletons with swords are coming at you, and you're typing, like, punch or slash or kick or whatever it is, or
Mhm.
shout, um, or you're trying to you're like you've been raised from the dead by the Crypt Master, and so you're trying to uncover memories of who you were, and so the crypt master will have like objects that he's looking at and asking you like, what do you think this is? Here are some clues, and you're typing in guesses. And it's like amazing the scope at which the game like has, like, if you type uh frog or something, like the crypt master will react to that answer and be like, no, like it's not some it's not just like a, "No, let's move on," like, "You're wrong." Like, there's, like, personalized responses to inputs that you give the game. So,
Mhm.
um, just the interactivity and the scale of kind of open-endedness of what you can create with Crypt Master is really, really cool, and I absolutely loved loved that character and interacting with him specifically, so yeah, it's Cryptmaster. What about you? Who's your character of the year? Oh, sorry, did you wanna say anything about Cryptmaster?
No, no, I think you covered it. I think my character of the year that I was gonna shout out was already, like, a little bit of a well, okay, if I have to pick just one, it's Basilio from Metaphor
Oh, yeah,
ReFantazio.
he's on my list.
Our hot cat boy himbo.
Love that man.
Love him so much, his accent, yeah, and it's not just a
Mhm,
horny thing, like, I just think his character is so interesting, I like the journey that he goes on in the story. But I would say, like, I would also pair like, if we could get away with it, I would pair him up with his brother Fidelio, like,
mhm,
I definitely thought Fidelio and Basilio were 2 of the most interesting inclusions in Metaphor ReFantazio as far as characters went. I
mm,
found the story of them to just be super compelling. I like the idea, and I don't know, this is probably slightly spoilerish what I'm about to say now for Metaphor, but it's stuff that happens, like, mid-game. So it's not spoilers in the sense that I'm telling you the ending of the game, but if you don't wanna know anything about the story, and I can tag this in the episode and stuff, just fast forward, like, a few minutes, but Fidelio and Basilio are 2 folks who actually work for your main antagonist in the game, Luis. But the fact that they're Carapace, which are aside from the Elda, which your main character is part of the Elda race, they are the most ostracized and,
mhm,
oppressed people in the game, but they're also, like, they don't really go out into most society. And there's not a huge population of Elda, like, they stay pretty
mm,
self-contained. It's, like, really rare to see an Elda. The Parapace are one of the most populous peoples in the game, in the world of the game, and they are just like basically one step above an Elda in terms of the oppression hierarchy. So
mhm,
they're used for a lot of menial labor. They're generally like, not well taken care of in their jobs. They're treated very expendable. There's a lot of Parapas that live on the streets that are unhoused, that are,
mhm,
hungry. And so I found them like just their entire race and that story to be really interesting. And then for Fidelio and Basilio specifically, they had kind of come from growing up being like basically the orphans who were used as test subjects by the government. They get out, they feel attracted to Luis because he's someone who's selling this meritocracy, and a meritocracy is super appealing for people who have been historically oppressed because it's idea that like
mhm,
you can actually get by on your own merits rather than
right,
being viewed as less than because of your race. And yet, the journey that they go through of understanding how Luis is still using and abusing them, and how their own values of wanting to take care of other people don't align with Luis's. And Basilio kind of being the heart of that in the conversation. Fidelio, his older brother, being like just really focused on, look, Basilio, I'm just trying to look out for us, like, and that's all we can do. Like,
mhm,
Luis took us in and helped us out, and we need to just, like, focus on our own shit, and we can't be helping other people, but Basilio really being kind of, like, more of the bleeding heart between the 2 of them, more of the, like, naive and idyllic, and kind of how that story between them plays out and where it goes. Um, yeah, I just thought it was really well done. I think they're both super well written, really well voice acted, and
oh,
you
so
can kind of
good.
see the writing on the wall when you first meet them. I think I had told you, like, this game's Akechi. Like,
Mhm,
it's the villain that you're drawn to anyway, it's the bad boy that you're like, "I can save them."
yeah,
And to some degree, though, I think in Metaphor, they let you kind of actually save them a little bit,
yeah,
and redeem them, and it was really special to me to experience that story, and yeah, I thought Basilio's awakening to his, archetype was really powerful as a scene. It was, like, one of the few that really got to me,
yeah,
and yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I thought he
love
was great.
him.
It's more than just, he's hot and his voice is sexy. He's like, yeah, just a really
A lot
special
of it's that
character.
for me, he's super hot.
But he's like, I don't know, he's such, like, a good-natured person and,
Yeah,
like, very simple and straightforward, and yeah, I liked him. I just
yeah,
wanted to take care of him.
I think he's neat, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's neat. Uh, who else do you wanna shout out?
Um, I had Basilio on my list too,
Yeah.
so Yeah. And my other 2 were Watcher and Crypt Master, so
Oh,
those are
okay, okay.
my top 3. Yeah.
So the other one that I'll shout out then is Chio, who's one of the characters from Arco. I like all
Mm,
the characters in Arco a lot. All 4 of the main characters I think are super interesting. But Chio in particular really resonated with me. She's introduced along with her twin brother, and she's like just as badass as him, if not more so. She is a like quick stabby stab fighter, like kind of gets in close and then runs away. She's such a badass. She's very like protective of her brother while still giving him a lot of shit all the
mm,
time. So I really like their relationship and their dynamic. She also begins as a character who's really kind of just all the characters in the story are experiencing the effects of colonization, and like West people encroaching on their land and area and culture and the harm that that's causing. And she really starts out as being a character who's very like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, we just need to get ours and get the fuck out of
yeah.
here. Like, this
Mm,
isn't our problem. And so
mhm,
where her story goes from there, I thought was super interesting. And she's just even, she's just this little fucking pixels on a screen and just words, and yet I just felt like I understood her and her perspective so
mhm.
well. She was so well, designed and written, and I really was invested in her story in particular and what she experiences and how that radicalizes her, and, she's badass and very
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, we love a funny badass.
Mm. It's wild how just a few pixels on the screen can make you
Yeah,
feel so
yeah,
much,
so much,
like
so much. So much. Should we do honorable mentions?
Yeah, sure. So, like, I think we covered, like, for mine at least, one of my honorable mentions was Crypt Master for reasons I basically elaborated upon when we talked
Mhm.
about the Crypt Master. My second was Neva, which I mentioned back when you, listed Neva as one of your top 5, and I had one more on the list, and that was, Dungeons of Hinterberg,
Oh, okay.
um, a game that I very much enjoyed. I liked, um it's very much like a cozy game. I had a lot of cozy vibes with it. I mean, it's literally about someone taking a vacation to go to a small town in Austria, I believe. Or no, she's from Vienna and she ends up going to this small village where dungeons have popped up with monsters inside of them that are kind of made of this shadowy material that like they're not really sentient. They're so no one has to feel bad about slaying them. But travelers from all over the world, like influencers, regular people, are coming to go through the motions of being on an adventure and wielding a sword, and there's a whole industry that's popped up around it. Um, and so I think, from the kind of hero's journey themes of like overcoming adversity, learning more about yourself, gaining confidence, building relationships, kind of pushing past your own limits. There's plenty of that. But I also enjoyed this kind of twist on the kind of like dungeon slaying action role playing game of kind of like what's the impact of tourism on a community, and what does it mean to travel to a place and have these quote unquote transformative experiences and then leave, and like what do you owe to these places should people feel like they can just come into communities and take from them and then just leave without really knowing the history of the place in which they're having or what they're projecting their experiences upon. Like there's like a really interesting aspect of it that I wasn't necessarily expecting that came through. Um, and yeah, it was a really delightful art style and design and music. Like it was just like a very nice little game, and it made me think about stuff. So it's like, what more can you ask for from a game? Like, yeah, I had a great time with it. So that's my last honorable mention.
Love that. Okay, I've got a few, and the only one on my list that we hit already was Kinitagami, so that was on my honorable mentions
Hmm.
list. But let me run through these as succinctly as I
Okay.
can. I wanted to shout out Little Kitty Big City.
Mm.
for being another one of those just, like, perfectly designed games and such a fun, like, achievement hunting game. I feel like it's a weird one to throw out there, but I'm telling you, people, like, this game is so fun, and, like, I feel like I felt more like a cat than I did in Stray. Like, Little
Wow.
Kitty Big City is
That's
low-key the better
okay.
cat sim
I
game.
might have to play this for
Go
real.
check
The
out Little
title
it's
makes me think it's
I
so
know it sounds like a little kid's game, and it's
yeah.
like it's just to be clear, like, this game is not you're not gonna have some emotional reckoning with this game. It is just a fun little day of a cat getting like, falling out of the window and going and
Mhm.
experiencing the city. It's cute as fuck. You buy hats out of vending machines and you put them on the cat. But it was just it's, like, so well designed and fun, and I felt like a cat. You get to do little cat things, and then you get rewarded for it. And it's very
Mhm.
much kind of like a collectible achievement sorta game where it's like, you have your little bucket list and it's like, get all the ducks to the pond, and you just, like, go find the little ducklings and you walk they're hidden in different spaces and you gotta figure out
Mhm.
how you're gonna cat climb your way up to that spot. But you also do things like pounce on birds, and it gives you all
Mm.
these different interactions. There's people walking around the city, and you can try to get them to pet you, or you can do
Mm.
cute things and try to get them to take photos of you, or you can just be a dick and trip them and then steal their shit and run away. Like, I don't know.
Cat
It's
stuff.
you do cat stuff, and it was kind of a perfect video game. I, like, played it in a day and just had so much fun with it. It's just, like, 3 or 4 hours long. Um, I wanted to shout out In Stars in Time. Didn't technically come out this year, but we played it
Oh,
in
yeah.
January,
Okay,
and
mhm.
even though I had a lot of frustrations with some of the, like, cycling in that game,
Mhm.
story-wise, I thought it was, like, one of the best narratives that I played this year, and I probably would have put it on my final list if it wasn't for some of the frustrations I had about the looping, and then just the fact that it didn't come out this year. I really wanted to shout out games that did, but In
Yeah.
Stars and Time is a great fucking game. Um, I also wanted to shout out Psychroma,
Oh, yeah.
which is from our
Mhm.
friends over at Rocket Adrift. Just really great art, great vibes,
Mhm.
cool little story, very queer. Um, like exploring transness and identity and memory and
Mm.
how all of those things relate to each other. And like yeah, just shouting out the art again. The art in that game is so cool and vivid, and it's kind of like just a little side scroller. It's almost more of a visual novel than anything, but it does have some very light um adventure game elements. I wouldn't even call them
Mm.
puzzles. It's like walk through all of the rooms and find an item and bring it back to a different room kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, very trippy and cool. And then the final game I want to shout out is Banishers. I feel like
Oh,
Banishers
yeah,
was better
mhm.
than it had any right to be. And the biggest critique that I have of that game is that they tried to do a little too much. Like the world is just
Yeah.
a little too big and the combat is sometimes a little too hard. But, like,
Mhm.
that game should not have been as good as it was. Like, I
Yeah.
really had a good fucking time with that game. I put, like, almost 70 hours into it. When I was looking through, like, the games I spent the most time on this year, it came up. And
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of drama happening at Don't Nod, and I think a lot of they've had layoffs and all this other stuff. And it's sad to me because as much as the drama does sound like a lot of it is caused by mismanagement. It sounds like they try to do too much. They put people on too many projects and it creates overwork and chaos. And that's not cool. And they need to get that figured out. And obviously, I don't want them laying their people off either. But I do think the variety of experiences that that studio has been able to
Mm.
produce is very cool and not something you see super often. Usually, a studio like does one thing and they do that well, and the fact that Don't Nod can put out a game like Jasant and Banishers, like, within a year's worth of time. I
Range.
mean, Jasant didn't come out
Yeah.
this year, but, like, within a year, within
Yeah.
365 days, both of those games came out, and that's just wild. Those are 2 dramatically different games. Um,
For sure. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I was on the fence with Banishers, I think for the reasons you said. It's like the combat was a little
mhm,
rough and, they were just it was trying to do a lot. But at the core, yeah, I mean, it's a really compelling story with characters you really feel for. Comparisons to God of War when it came to the combat and, like, you really felt that, and,
mhm.
it was beautiful. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down.
it was a fun
Yeah,
time. It was a
it's a
fun
good
time.
game.
Whew! Okay, that was our year. That was 2024 in gaming.
Wow, that happened.
And here we go, 2025 full steam ahead.
Oh, that's right. Choo choo.
All right, folks, time is up for today's session of Pixel Therapy. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope that listening to our thoughts and feelings gave you some thoughts and feelings of your own. If you want more Pixel Therapy, come check us out at patreon.com/pixeltherapypod, where you can sign up for free to stay up to date on everything we have going on, including our weekly streaming schedule, or you can subscribe for as little as $2 a month and snag that sweet monthly bonus episode. Also, be sure to check out our Let's Play series, Pixel Therapy Plays, here on the Pixel Therapy Pod YouTube channel. And you can subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications every time we go live. And of course, you can also support the show by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts and following us on Twitter. I think we tweet sometimes at Pixel
Yeah.
Therapy Pod. I
It's
don't
hard to
know.
be on Twitter these
It's hard to be on
days.
social media, period. So the Patreon really is the best spot to follow us.
Yeah, just go to Patreon.
Yeah. But wherever you want to support us and can support us, we do appreciate it just as much.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, since we like to put our money and our energy where our mouth is, we end every episode with a recommended side quest. Um, as we have been doing, just encouraging y'all again to please check out Operation Olive Branch. That's tinyurl.com/OP Olive Branch. It's a grassroots collective effort to amplify Palestinian voices and their GoFundMe's. Um, Visit tinyurl.com/OP Olive Branch to learn more, or visit their Instagram page at Operation Olive Branch. Um, yeah, they're great. GazaFunds.com is another great place to provide mutual aid. But yeah, check them out. Show some support. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, that continues to be very relevant. Thank you for that side quest, Spencer. That is our show for today, folks. So go forth, run a story mission, level up some stats, and don't forget to hug an NPC every now and then. We'll be back oh so soon with some more
Pixel
Pixel
therapy.
Therapy. Bye.
Bye.